Hi, everyone. It's Jen from Mindseye, and today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about getting the gaff. And as it relates to politics, the GAFFE is one that is truly a remnant B. It is a remnant sting from each lifetime that goes about in its way unknown to be renowned to get it done, a DUN. And as it related to me in a field as a visiting nurse, and now as a stay-at-home mom, as a psychic medium, a magician, and then as a military wife doing homeschooling, you just can't get enough of what a gap is. So let's talk about what the gap is. It basically is a break and a gap. And when you have a break and a gap in your day, all forms of the spelling, you have to say, I'm clinically, mentally insane because I just can't get anything done, DUNE. So that's when actually people start getting heinous. And when people start getting heinous, they start acting criminal-like. But are they criminal or are they actually just being agitated? Because as I sit here as myself, no longer in the nursing field, I have to say that a lot of my patients who were non-compliant were probably agitated at some point not to do it out of spite, they said, and that basically nastiness would ensue uh, in a workplace environment, which is slander and defamation. Then you actually like go home and you have to say they kind of stuck their energy to you. Because as I look at this, and I have to say, there's a degree of all law enforcement to get it done. A done is a made criminal, a DUN, up to a Lucifer incarnate, which is a DUNN, to make it DONE in their day. So how do I have to be so like nasty in my house? My house is supposed to be a safe haven, a place where my family comes to sit and rest and settle from the day and to go about. So when it's normal to have an argument and normal to have a day where we're at each other's throats, where we're screaming the D word, which is divorce, you have to say what is wrong. But when you actually have to think about it, was it criminally induced or was it a free will choice because of discontent? So that is where the runaround is. You literally have to do what you feel, but then you run into a social worker or a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and say, that's not your feeling, that's somebody else's feeling. Identify who you're feeling. So when I sit here and I say, you actually just need to sit there and watch it play out. You got to watch their behaviors. Did they learn their lessons when it was in their face? Because I'm looking at my situation, and even if I follow everything to the law, it is still a letter from the school, even though I'm withdrawn from the district, saying that I am urged to re-enroll my children because two were on special education IEPs. And then it went to, I understand, Jennifer, that you're too sick, but since you went per diem and you can keep your equipment technically for 6 months, yada, 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 you're now a thief because you couldn't drive in, but you're too sick to actually come into work. You might get us sick. And then it goes to, well, you didn't follow your orders, soldier. So now you're on a contentment order. You're basically on a base, a pace, a gaze to get it done, and we're going to test you. So go ahead and leave your IDs hanging up and don't come in on that flight. I'll test you on that. You have to say that some things were agitated and some were not, based on how nasty a policy, procedure, and a protocol can be, and when they stick it to you in a way unknown to be renowned to get it gone. You have to say, was it based upon a look, a prejudice, a hate crime? What is it? Is it all of it, or is it none of it? Spell it, because it counts in a court of law. Am I just venting? Am I just a stay-at-home mom? There it is. There it is. I am now actually right up there with the other podcasters. I am right up there with everyone else. Or am I speaking for others? You can't speak for others. I knew it. I will just sit here. And that's how the day goes. But in reality, me as how I am in my house, and this is just a glimpse, it is, well, mom was assaulted. Something went wrong on the deployment. Dad can't talk about it. And then something happened at the school. And then it really got bad when dad came home because he's not allowed to talk. So how does he have an out? How does mom have an out? I think it's best I don't return back to work. I think it's best I don't actually walk in. But there's more to the story to be had. I feel like this is probably one of my biggest projects, my biggest tasks in a lifetime, and someone who can remember a little bit of past lives. That my greatest accomplishment was my family. And then to sit here and actually follow everything down to the T, you have to say, where did I go wrong? I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. Just like school, you have to go right at the exact time we were still in school. And that's all you need to know. Each day does get better as you homeschool. Each day gets better. You have to do it in your own way as you see it. As a parent, you know your children the best. Even the pediatrician will say, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? You know your children. What do you want? And it's basically here. Why? Because they're parents themselves and they don't like being told what to give their children, because based on a reaction so bad from a vaccine, you have to say, don't give it to them again. While others benefit from it. So what is true? It's a case by case. Is it mandated? Is it policy procedure? It is policy and procedure. But, and there it is. That's where the but comes in, and you want to get the Tanqueray or the gin or anything like that and sit in the corner like the 1950s and light up a cigarette with the bubbler in the back and just write out the paperwork. To literally just give it out. Just give it out. But you cannot speak for yourself because we know your child best. And they have to stay on speech language pathology services because they need to learn how to answer the phone. Well, I think as a parent, I'm competent enough where I can actually teach everyone in the house correctly to pick up my telephone and say hello. It's an Apple phone. Just slide to the right. but I'm a risk because I didn't answer my email within 30 minutes. So we'll call DCF because we're mandated reporters. So that is actually where we are in America. We're happy where politics landed based on the votes, everywhere where the votes went. We're seeing some progressive nature in healthcare. We're seeing a calming down with law enforcement and to the other agencies. It is starting to transition to the where we need it to be post feeling this what they call this natural aggression to come through. And we have to say that's criminal. If you're naturally aggressive, then just put it out because most people are very even keel until agitated. So if you walk through everything and actually say, let's go test that cup, you have to say, look at their pupils, look at everything. Observancy is key, consistency is key, prudency is key, patterns of behavior is key. Now, with that being said, when you are homeschooling at first, you are to take a break for 6 months. That is called unschooling. You're getting habits that were instilled into your children that are not of law, of criminal towards them, whichever the everything played out for you. And then you're learning your children again. When you learn your children again, you have to go it on your own. Meaning this, using everything about yourself and everything about themselves to learn how to sit and rest and settle and be at ease. It's almost like your house becomes a containment area, a safety net. You have to be careful on who comes in. So when you actually do that, when you bring it in, as my life has played out with now transitioning to homeschooling and then post my incident as a visiting nurse and then the deployment, I basically should be almost in a containment area for like 36 months, it feels like. But in reality, it's not that. It is as needed when I need to get out of the house, I can. When I feel I'm ready to. It's almost like a victim protocol coming back home to get it done. So with that being said, you have to say, as everything goes out and the energy leaves, what happens? Well, me being spiritual and more on the pagan, Viking, Wiccan side, and I do believe in God, it was knowing about God, who God is to me, and then also knowing how all these things work in the world. And it was physics and it was energy and it was astrology and everything. And as I boiled and blended it through, it was every Wednesday we're going to go order a pizza. Why? Because I incorporated my husband's habits and rituals from his family that made him feel better. Good luck with that. I can't even file for Department of Labor because I'm able-bodied. Following everything to the policy, procedure, and protocol and to the law can actually make someone so criminal when they come in a way unknown. It truly can be an honor more ways than one when you're summoned Unbeknownst to them, that is a legal term saying this that I learned from a patient when he said, watch out for the Indians. It wasn't a derogatory term, it was a warning, a gift. So I would be okay. It meant that something would come into my house unbeknownst to me and cause a disarray. That's why they call it the deployment gnome. As soon as they leave, everything breaks. All the bills go haywire. Nobody can approach that area. Nothing. Even law enforcement. It is so nasty what happens. You just can't get it done. So, with that being said, when you can't get it done on a way to a run to get a tea, an energy drink, or maybe a couple things for dinner because you finally got some extra cash, you have to say, I feel like I've actually been living the way it was I getting a preview? Prohibition to depression? Because we're actually doing okay. The $600 actually worked towards the light bill. That's $1,800 for 1,000 square foot home in Connecticut. But there's some things that need to get fixed. We'll wait till the next storm. Why? It's illegal. Look at the law. All you need to know is that everything goes about based on energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred and transmuted. When you transmute energy, it comes in like a force of lightning towards you to get that act done. And when it gets done, it is in such a disarray, it leaves detriment. And when it leaves detriment, it could be a 36-year cost. So, with that being said, that's all I have to say. Welcome to the new America. We'll talk to you soon.